Oh, hello there. I'm so happy that you're here for this episode. I've got an amazing exercise in store for you that I absolutely love doing every single month. It makes such a big difference. But first, I want to let you know that every single week we are doing a She Means Business giveaway. We are giving away something from our amazing stationery range, Carrie & Co, or a copy of my book, She Means Business, to a lucky winner. Basically, we would love your help to spread the word about the She Means Business show. So if you take a picture of yourself listening to this episode on your phone, if you're listening to it over on iTunes or Spotify, tag us in a story on Instagram, tag us at Female Entrepreneur Association. If you want to say a few words about this episode or what you loved about it, and just help us get the word out and get more people listening to it. My goal this year is for us to get the She Means Business show into the ears of as many people as possible to help inspire and empower more people this year. So today, I really want to share something with you that has been such a huge game changer for me. Have you ever gone through a phase where you kind of wake up one day and you realize you have just not been living the life you want to live? Like, you just don't feel good about things. You don't feel good in yourself. You feel maybe frustrated or overwhelmed or anxious or really stressed out or really low or just really unaccomplished. Have you ever felt these emotions? I mean, I'm sure we all have at one point or another. For me, I have gone through phases in the past where I have been on a downward spiral for a long period of time, whether it's a sense of overwhelm or lack of accomplishment or lack of motivation, confusion, feeling stuck. And in 2008, 2009, 2010, into 2011, I went through a really long period of feeling a lot of emotions I didn't really want to feel. And I didn't know what to do about it. And I didn't actually do something about it until 2011. What I did in 2011 was I decided to take control and change my approach. Instead of feeling stuck and feeling frustrated and feeling confused about things, I wanted to figure out what I could proactively do to feel accomplished, to feel successful, to feel really good in myself. Like, what did that look like? So you probably will have heard me talk about this before, my Mission Success Challenge, I talk about in my book, but there's one key thing that I started doing, and I do this at the beginning of every year, at the beginning of every month, and even sometimes at the beginning of every day. Getting intentional about this one thing is such a game changer in how you live your life. And it is this. It's so simple. It's so brilliant though. It's getting intentional about how you want to feel. How you want to feel. Right? So often we're living our lives and we're kind of going and going and going and going and going, but we never stop to really get intentional about how we want to feel. But yeah, how we feel literally determines, like, it's whether we feel happy and content and joyful or whether we feel frustrated and stuck and confused. And that has such a huge impact on the overall like the grand scheme of our lives. Like, it's, you know, the way we wake up in the morning and the way we feel, it determines so much. When we get intentional about how we want to feel, we can start to live our lives in the best way. For example, whether you are wanting to wake up and to feel more accomplished, or you want to feel more abundant, or you want to feel more joy, whatever it is that you want to feel more of, you have to first get intentional that you want to feel more of it. Yet so often we're unconsciously living in a state of feeling the way we don't want to feel. So we're unconsciously waking up and feeling overwhelmed. We're feeling stressed. We're feeling frustrated. And it is often the more challenging emotions that often are leading the way in our lives, and we're along for the ride and we're not taking control of it. When I realized I could take control of the way I was feeling and start to get more intentional about the way I wanted to feel, it really changed everything. It stopped me from going on these circles or these cycles of feeling really frustrated. Now, don't get me wrong, there are definitely times even now where I feel overwhelmed and confused and stressed out and anxious and all those things. You know, we always, you know, those emotions are a part of our lives. However, now I can be more intentional and create more awareness around, oh, right, I'm feeling this way. I don't want to be feeling this way. How do I want to feel? Oh, okay, I want to feel like this. Okay, what do I need to do to start feeling like this now? And through this process, I have been able to navigate back on track a lot faster, and it changes everything. And it not only changes the fact that I get to live a better life because I feel better, but has also impacted on my success and what I've been able to achieve. Because, at the end of the day, everything starts from within. So the way we feel, the way we think determines the decisions we make. The decisions we make determine the action we take. The action we take determines the things we achieve in our lives, what we do with our lives. So if you are waking up and you're feeling confused and frustrated, then you make decisions based on that feeling, and that might not be the best decision to make that's going to progress you and propel you towards the dreams that you have, the life you want to live, the things you want to achieve. So for me, realizing I can make a few small tweaks to adjust the way I was feeling, that could then realizing that has such a huge impact on the action that I take, and that has a huge impact on the things I begin to see come to fruition in my life. So I want to share my framework with you for how you can actually use this from a practical perspective, because it's one thing to be like, oh, well, I want to feel amazing all the time, but so, what does that mean? Like, what does that change? So I want to give you a framework so that this actually can have a huge impact. This is about having fun with this. This is not like some really super serious exercise, though it is incredibly powerful. Just go into this lighthearted. I want you to do this, if you can, every single month. I want you to sit down and I want you to ask yourself this question: how do I want to feel this month? How do I want to feel this month? And I want you to, just without even really getting into your mind, into your head about it, I want you to get into your heart, into your soul, and ask yourself how you want to feel. How do you want to feel? And then get a piece of paper and just write it out, and just begin writing, and just don't write so much with your head, write more with your heart. So just allow the words to flow through you in the sense of how you want to feel. And it could just be one word, because when I decide how I want to feel every month, it's usually based on one core feeling. So one big feeling that I'm getting really intentional about. Because if you're trying to get intentional about feeling like 10 different feelings, then it's kind of a bit, your focus is all over the place. So I like to really narrow it down. And yes, there are multiple different feelings I want to experience, but in the month, I decide what my core feeling is. And it could be the same core feeling every single month that you're going after, because potentially you've created a feeling that you want to have experience for the whole year. And so that is kind of your thing, and you want to tune into that more. And that's absolutely fine. So, but you want to get clear on like the core feeling. How do you want to feel? Now, sometimes when I'm doing this, I also journal and write out how I've been feeling. So how have you been feeling? What have you been feeling over the past month? And is it how you want to feel? So what have you experienced over the past month? The feelings you've experienced, and are they feelings that feel good, basically? So write out how you have been feeling, and if you're okay with that, and if that has felt good, or if you're like, wait a sec, I realize I have actually not been, I don't want to feel these things, and so I need to do something about it. I need to make a change. Awareness, I feel, is absolutely the essential element for us to live our best lives, because when you become aware of what's going on and how you're feeling and what's working and what's not working, from that point you can make decisions that help, again, propel you forward in the direction that you actually want to go in. Let's say, for example, you want to feel more joy. Let's say that is what you have chosen as the predominant feeling you want to experience over the next month. So the next step of this is to think about, what can you do that brings you joy? What can you do every single day that will bring joy into your life? So I want you to sit and I want you to make a list of things that you can do right now that will bring you joy. And it could be going for a walk. It could be spending time every single day to pet your dog. It could be spending time every day really amazing time, really focused, intentional time with your kids and making sure you laugh every day with them. It might be sitting down and giving yourself space to read a book, to meditate, to watch something that inspires you. It might be giving yourself permission to call friends and have fun conversations. It could be you going out and buying a drink that brings you joy. For example, you might be like, I really want to go out and buy the most luxury hot chocolate I can find, and once a week I'm going to sit down and make myself a luxury hot chocolate and just give myself an experience that's filled with joy, that makes me feel so happy. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to think about all the things that I'm grateful for, all the things that make me happy in my life, and it's going to become an intentional practice I do. So really thinking about things that bring you joy. So you can do this from the perspective of like, what do you know brings you joy? Like, make the list of what brings you joy. These things bring me joy. Okay, these things I can bring into my life every day. And as you start to go through and you start to recognize, oh, right, this is something really little that I can do every morning. This is something little I can do at this time. This is something little I can do throughout the day. You start to build up a list of like all these little tiny action steps that you can take that will bring you joy. So the next step is, once you've got that list of tiny little steps of joy, you can start taking those tiny little steps towards joy, and you can experience joy in that moment. You don't have to wait to experience joy. You can feel joy now, even in the smallest moment, like even if it's just for 30 seconds. But if you got to experience that joy and you're intentional about experiencing that joy, your life begins to up level. You begin to vibrate at a different level. You begin to attract things into your life that are so different to if you're feeling, say, frustrated and that's the energy that you're sat in. When you shift to that energy of joy and you're so intentional about it, it opens up your life. You will be so surprised at what begins to flow to you because you have this completely different energy about you. So it's about looking at the little tiny things you can do that will bring you that experience right now, not tomorrow, not next week. We're not waiting on things. We're not waiting on a pair of shoes, on a handbag, on a holiday, on an experience, on whatever it is. We're not waiting for something out there. We are looking at things that can bring us joy right now, that we can have right now, that we can experience right now. And we're looking at infusing those little tiny steps of joy into our lives over the next 30 days. And it's the same with anything. So for example, in the past, I often do it with abundance, feeling abundant. Now, you obviously have to know what that means for you. But then once you know what that means for you, for me, abundance is a sense of allowing myself to receive, allowing money to flow to me, allowing success to flow to me, allowing happiness and joy to flow to me. It's an abundance of it all. For me, it's like this little package is all packaged up together. But for example, then getting really intentional about how can I feel abundant? What does a tiny step of abundance look like? What is that? So it could be just something as simple as watching a really inspirational video on abundance, on allowing myself to receive. So often, for example, like with the Abraham Hicks videos and some of those videos on abundance, sometimes I watch those videos and it's just a reminder to open myself up, to allow myself to receive what I want, to trust that the universe is going to bring me what I want. Sometimes that in itself just starts to make me feel really abundant. I also do my mantras. So, sitting down and just saying things like, thank you so much for the abundance I receive. Thank you so much for the success that pours into my life. Thank you so much for the inspired ideas that arrive in my mind at the perfect time. Thank you so much for the support. I open myself up to receiving so much abundance. I open myself up to receiving so much money. Money flows to me so easily. It feels so easy. And when I start to say these things and I sink into that feeling, I start to feel more abundant. And when I start to feel more abundant, I make more abundant decisions. I spot opportunities because it's like my little antennas are going, she's looking for abundance, she's looking for abundance. And I begin to spot things that I probably wouldn't have otherwise spotted if my energy and focus was on something else. So it's deciding what you want to bring into your life. What is the feeling you want to bring into your life? And then looking at those tiny steps that you can take to experience that and to bring it into your life. And you can do this with, any feeling that you want. So if it's power, for example, this has actually come up because when I was doing a coaching call in the membership
last week actually. One person said they wanted to experience more joy. Another person said they wanted to experience this feeling of power, stepping into your power, feeling powerful, really having that conviction in yourself. So what does that look like? What does that emotion look like? And how do you start to step into your power? What are tiny little steps, tiny little power steps that you can take every day to step into your power? And other things that I share, for example, let's talk about going back to my sense of abundance. Little things like making upgrades in that month where I can do. So, for example, my bedroom experience, and yeah, not in any kind of crazy way, but like in sense of like how my bedroom feels, like making it feel luxurious and abundant, so that when I wake up in the morning, I wake up and I feel that sense of abundance, having really nice pillows, having really nice bedding, just having a really nice, like just what you create around yourself to bring in that experience that you want, having like really nice towels, having like a really nice perfume that makes you feel abundant. Everything, all of our senses are so important to like create an experience for us, and like we can have that experience now. So you may have heard me talk about this before, but when I was a teenager, I did create my first ever goal folder, and in it I put in a bottle of perfume of how I wanted my life to smell when I was successful, and I would smell that smell and it would make me feel success, like I just felt success in every cell of my being. So now I have perfumes that make me feel a certain way. So maybe you want to create an abundance perfume for yourself. You find a scent that you really like, a fragrance that you really like, and when you spray it onto yourself, you spray on abundance. Or it could be joy, whatever it is. Maybe you've got a fragrance that you just smell and it just brings you joy. In fact, I definitely have had those before. And like fragrances, because fragrances evokes such strong emotions. Like if you got a bottle of perfume, for example, and you wore that perfume in a particular time in your life. So maybe for me, for example, I wore a Chanel perfume when I was traveling around Australia like 10 years ago now, over 10 years ago now. And every time I smell that perfume, I just smell the adventures of Australia. And I love it. It just brings everything flooding back. So it creates that sense for me. So just really think about all the little things in your life and all the little ways that you can bring and create those feelings into your life. This is simple stuff, but that has such a profound impact, and we can all do this stuff. And when you get more intentional about how you want to feel, your life up levels. You will feel better, more joy, and more of what you want will flow into your life because you're so much more intentional. And I've truly found that this is one of the really big keys to living your best life. Just to recap, you want to have a think first about how you have been feeling. Start there, because that's, you know how you've been feeling. You can sit down and you can write out how you've been feeling. Identify what has felt really good, what are the good feelings and what are the negative feelings. Overall, would you say you've been really happy with how you've been feeling? Would you feel like you're neither here nor there? Would you feel like actually you've not been feeling the way you want to feel? Like you're not okay with how you've been feeling and you definitely want to do something about it? And once you've identified that, the next step is to look at, okay, well, this is how I have been feeling, but if I'm going to get really intentional about this, how do I actually want to feel? How do I want to feel? And that might be multiple layers to this, but then try and get clear on like one core theme, one core feeling that you can just place your focus on for the next 30 days. So then you've got your feeling for the next 30 days. And then I want you to get clear on like little tiny steps you can take every single day that are going to bring you that feeling. They're going to bring that feeling into your life so that you can experience it every single day in multiple tiny little meaningful ways. So what does that look like? So we talked about like tiny little steps of joy, tiny little steps of abundance, tiny little steps of success, tiny little steps of accomplishment, of power, of whatever it is, that main feeling. So you want to write all that down and get really clear on it. And then you want to start doing those things every day. So do take those steps to bring that feeling and that experience into your life, and watch as your life unfolds and opens up and you raise your vibration to that energy that you want to feel, and watch as like the universe reflects back that to you. You know what I've always found? If I feel abundant, abundance is reflected back to me. If I feel happy, happiness is reflected back to me. And so it's just getting really intentional about that. And it's also like, for example, I know if I'm being really intentional about, say, for example, feeling happy, if something really crap happens, and I'm feeling happy, instead of it being really, 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 really crap, often I'll actually just be in such a different mindset because of the way I'm feeling that I will start to see the silver lining or the best parts, and I'll analyze it and I'll interpret that experience based on this energy of happiness. And even that changes everything. It changes the way you see things, the way you respond to things. And that is really powerful. I just wanted to share this with you because this has been so actually life-changing for me. This has been one of the biggest things that's helped me to live a more happy, joyful, abundant, successful life, because I'm really intentional about how I want to feel. And at the end of the day, how we feel it means everything, isn't it? So give this a try. Give it a try and do it for the next 30 days and see how you get on. And I'd love to hear from you and love to hear your experiences on how this impacts your life. Definitely share your word with us. What is your word in the sense of what do you want to feel for the next 30 days? And definitely share that with us, whether it's joy, abundance, power. I'd love to hear your one word for the next 30 days. But I really hope that you have enjoyed this whole exercise. This actually is one of the questions that is part of my Epic Annual Success Plan. If you want to grab yourself a copy of it, then definitely check out the link over on the Female Entrepreneur Association. It's got over 30 powerful questions I always ask myself to help me to live my most intentional, best life ever. And these questions are so powerful and have really changed my life because it gets me thinking in a way that perhaps I wouldn't normally think. So if you want more help and to want to dive deeper with getting intentional, then definitely check out the Epic Annual Success Plan. But I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of the She Means Business Show. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for all your support. Definitely take a picture and share yourself listening to this episode and tag us on Instagram at Female Entrepreneur Association to be in with a chance of winning some amazing goodies. And I will see you again next week for another episode of the She Means Business Show. I hope you loved this week's episode of the She Means Business Show. If you want more help and support to build a wildly successful business, then join hundreds of thousands of women and become an FEA insider. You'll get access to some of our amazing freebies, to our bonuses, to our giveaways, to so much good stuff. Head over to femaleentrepreneurassociation.com/insider to get all of the goodness. And I will see you next week for another episode of the She Means Business Show.